So here's the thought process when going through this. First, make sure that it's written in standard form. Is this written in standard form? Highest power of x is to the lowest power, yes. Okay, so the next thing you may want to do is identify right away. What is your a value? What's the coefficient of x squared? -1. What's your b value? +2. And your c value is -3. Okay, so once you find those three things, okay, what you can now do is go in. Ultimately, you're going to sketch the graph of this. Okay, so to sketch the graph, we need to know a couple things. Where is the vertex? Okay, so to find the vertex, we're going to use the equation, the x-coordinate of the vertex is equal to -b over 2a. Okay, so we're going to plug in our values for that. So we have a negative. Our b value is 2. All over 2 times, and our a value is -1. So we get -2 over -2, which gives us an overall value of 1. So what this means is the x-coordinate of our vertex has the coordinate of 1. So how can I find the corresponding y-coordinate here? So to find the y-coordinate of vertex, I'm going to use my calculator. Okay, and I'm going to type in the original equation, so -x squared plus 2x minus 3. I'm going to evaluate it with x equaling what? What is the x-coordinate of that vertex? We found it to be 1. So if I evaluate this for 1, I get my y-coordinate to be -2. Okay, so right now I can plot that point. Here's 1, -2. Now we can go back to one of the original things you can see about this graph. Is the graph going to open up or down? Leading coefficient is negative, so it's going to open.
Wait, which coefficient?
The leading coefficient, the a value. If a is negative, it's going to open down. So right away, just with that, with finding the vertex and knowing whether the leading coefficient is positive or negative, you can sketch your graph. And this is what I'd be looking for. Okay, depending on whether it opens up or down, I encourage you to label the vertex opposite that. So our vertex is the point 1, -2. Okay, the next piece of information that I would want you to find here is going to be the line of symmetry. The line of symmetry is always going to be x equals some number, and that number will be c. Or, I'm sorry, not c, excuse me. The number is going to be whatever this y-coordinate of the vertex, or I'm sorry, the x-coordinate of the vertex is. Okay, so whatever this x-coordinate is, there's your line of symmetry. And when you sketch it, it's just going to be a dashed line. And that represents, again, x equals 1, the line of symmetry, the line on which this parabola is reflected. Okay. Now, the other 2 points that I'm going to ask you to find on this is the y-intercept. The y-intercept is always going to be the point x-coordinate of 0. The y-coordinate is always going to be c, whatever your c value is. So when we label this point right here as our y-intercept, x-coordinate of 0, our y-coordinate is going to be -3. It's just the c value. And then the final step is I'm going to ask you to pick one other point that lies on that graph. And the easiest way to find the other point is right here in your evaluate display on your calculator. Just pick another number for x. So what can we let x be here? 3. Let's say we go x is 3. Our corresponding y is -6. So here would be our point, 3, -6. And that's what you would be looking for and answering on this problem. All right. So on this, what you're looking to do is write it in standard form. So there's no x's written here, so really what you're looking at is an unwritten 0x plus 0. And so anytime you're missing a term, just think of it as a 0. So if we look at our a value is -4, our b value is 0, and our c value is 0. Okay? I'd encourage you to write those out. It helps as far as organizing. Okay, so if you want to find your vertex, to find the vertex, you're going to use the form -b over 2a. Okay, this is always going to give you the x-coordinate of your vertex. So if we plug this in, our b value is 0, and our a value is -4. So 0 over -8, any 0 divided by any number is always 0. So this is the x-coordinate of your vertex. So how are we going to find the y-coordinate that corresponds to that? Plug it into our equation. You can do that by hand pretty easily here. Because if you plug in a 0 for the x, you get -4 times 0, which is 0. So here's the x-coordinate and the y-coordinate for your vertex. And so you are able to identify the vertex of your graph is the point 0, 0. Now is this graph opening up or down based on the a value?
Down.
Down, because a is negative, so I can sketch this. And I'm going to label above. So there's my point 0, 0. And so if you were answering this as the question from your homework, it says, tell whether the graph is opening up or down. The answer would be?
Down.
Down. Find the coordinates of the vertex. The answer would be 0, 0. And then find the line of symmetry. So now what you can do is you can take a vertical line through your vertex and say it's equal to